dear friends and students, welcome to my channel Kids Learning Classroom Style. मैं शिखा और आप सबको मेरा जय श्री श्याम. Hope you all are doing good and many of you might be starting your exams very soon, maybe by next week, and whatever chapters you are coming related to the science, you guys have till now prepared it, and if any of your chapters match with the topics that I have made the videos on, do watch them. It will really help in your exams, wherein I have explained each and every concept in very detail, and I've also given few questions of which I have verbally answered also on all of those videos. So today's topic is, today we will be starting a new chapter, which is materials and solution, and this will be the initial part of the topic will be related to the topic matter that we had covered in our air chapter. So in that chapter we had discussed that air is classified as matter. So we got to know a new term called matter. So what is a matter? So matter are tiny particles. Yes, so matters are what? Matters are tiny particles, and because of these tiny particles, matters has mass and occupies space. And therefore we understood that everything around us is known as matter. So anything and everything that has mass or space is known as matter. However, there are few things that we know does not have a space or has a mass or occupies space. So one what we had covered is matter, which is has space, has mass and occupies space. That can be anything. This pencil, eraser, crayons are day-to-day thing that we use as stationery I am referring to. But there is something also known as non-matter. So what is non-matter? So non-matter refers to the concepts that do not possesses physical substance or material. So that does not has physical existence. Can you think of any example of the things that does not has a physical existence? So the examples are music, light, sound. We hear music, but that can we touch them? No. Similarly, light and sound, these are all non-matter things that does not has a physical existence. So the same thing I have written, as we know, everything around us is known as matter. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. And we had discussed in the last chapter, there are three forms of matter: solid, liquid and gases. And any of these states of matter, so all these states of matter, when they undergo heating or cooling, means when they are exposed to heat or removed from heat, their form changes. Means solid becomes liquid, liquid becomes gas, gas becomes solid, and vice versa. So whenever any of these states, any of the three forms are exposed to heat or removed from heat, their state changes. And very commonly known example is ice. So we know that ice is what it is in the solid form when it is kept in the refrigerator. But as soon as we remove it from refrigerator and when it comes to contact with the heat in the room temperature, what happens? It starts melting. So what it is doing? So it is changing its form from solid to liquid. Yes, we will discuss about these three forms in very detail in this chapter. Then a solid may change into liquid upon heating. Similarly, a liquid can change into solid upon cooling. Yes, so a liquid means again the water. If we keep a tray full of water in the refrigerator, what it will become? It will become ice. So what is happening? A liquid is changing its form to solid upon cooling. So that's happening when we are cooling that particular thing. And even if we see the process like a solid means an ice cream. If we see an ice cream, so it is in a solid form. So when we remove it from refrigerator, it starts melting. So what is happening? So it is getting into the liquid form. Yes, and here I have a picture of how the molecules in this different states, in this different forms of matter are placed, or how it occupies. Heating and cooling affect the movement of particles in matter. So here it is solid. In solid we have studied that the molecules which is present in the matter, they are very closely packed and there is absolutely no movement of these molecules, and therefore their form remains rigid. Yes, therefore these forms remains rigid. But the moment we expose this solid to heat, जैसे ही इनमें हीट डालेंगे तो क्या होगा, ये ग्रेजुअली जो है लिक्विड पे चेंज करेंगे. एंड हाउ विल द मॉलिक्यूल्स बिकम? द मॉलिक्यूल्स विल when it is in the liquid form, they have a space to move. And when this liquid form changes to gas, what happens? The particles in the gaseous form, the molecules in the gaseous form are more loosely packed as compared to the liquid. So these particles move at a faster rate when heating. So when heating is applied, the particles, these molecules moves on a very faster rate, and the particles move slowly when cool. And when these particles are cool, the movement between these particles gets reduced. It reduces. Then the next is, I told you non-matter refers to concepts that do not possess this physical substance or material form. Example, music, light, sound, etc. And now here I have a changes of this is a complete cycle of the changes in states of matter. So let's get started. So here I have a solid, then a liquid, then a gases, and these are the changes that happens to when the form changes from one to another. So let's get started to it. These changes in matter occur when the heat is generally added or removed from a substance, causing its molecules to move differently, as I discussed over here. So here what happens is, so these molecules move differently. So what happens? So these are the physical changes of any substance. So the physical shape of the product or the substances changes, however the chemical compositions remains the same. So what are the changes that happens? So when solid is changing to liquid, when the solid changes to liquid, means like ice, when we keep the cube of ice outside the refrigerator, it starts to melt. And what does it becomes? The process is called melting. So when the molecules start changing from solid to liquid, that process is called melting. Yes. Then from liquid to solid, similarly, if we keep a tray of water in the refrigerator, what will happen? It will become solid. And what is that called? That is called freezing. Then what we have, liquid to gas. So this is liquid and this is gas. So when liquid to gas. So when we boil the water, the water vapor becomes the gases, and that process it's called evaporation. Liquid to gas is evaporation, and then from gas to liquid is condensation. And similarly, there are two processes wherein the substances can directly change from gas to solid, and they are called sublimation and deposition. I will explain each and every terminologies of this in very detail. But if you will remember this cycle, you will never go wrong in writing any of the questions asked about these terminologies. Yes, so changes in the state of matter like melting, freezing, evaporation and condensation occur when energy, which is heat, is added or removed from a substance, causing its molecules to move differently. So the molecules that are there in one particular substance, in one particular form, starts to change, starts to move differently, causing its state to change from one to another. Yes, so these are physical changes, which means the substance's chemical composition remains the same. So here the chemical compositions of these remains the same. And what are these processes? As I explained, solid to liquid is called melting, liquid to solid is called freezing, liquid to gas is called evaporation or vaporization, and then gas to liquid is called condensation, and then gas to solid is called deposition, and solid to gas is called sublimation. Yes, now let's get started with understanding each one of them with example. The first one is melting, which is what? Which is from solid to liquid. The process or melting is also called fusion. The process in which a solid changes into liquid on heating is known as melting. So on heating, ice melts into water. It becomes, so a solid becomes what? A liquid. An ice cube turning into a puddle of water. So if we leave a lot of ice cubes in some plain ground, what will become? It will become a mud. A water puddle means एक पानी का वहाँ पे गड्ढा सा बन जाएगा. When a candle burns, its wax melts. तो कैंडल क्या रहती है? It is a solid सब्सटेंस. उसका जो फॉर्म रहता है वो सॉलिड रहता है, लेकिन जब हम उसको हीट पे एक्सपोज करते हैं, देन व्हाट हैपन, जो उसकी वैक्स रहती है वो मेल्ट करना स्टार्ट हो जाता है. एंड सो हियर द सब्सटेंस चेंजेस इट्स फॉर्म फ्रॉम सॉलिड टू लिक्विड, और वहाँ मेल्टिंग होता है. देयरफॉर burning candle is an example of melting. Vaporization, the process in which liquid changes into vapor. तो liquid क्या हो रहा है? गैस में चेंज हो रहा है, वेपर में चेंज हो रहा है. On heating is known as evaporation. For example, when water is heated, we can see vapor coming out of it. Evaporation takes place continuously from the surface of liquid. It is slow at lower temperature. As the temperature increases, the rate of evaporation increases. जब कभी भी माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स, अगर आप अपने मम्मी को पानी बॉईल करते हुए भी नोटिस करेंगे, तो उस पर अब हम देखेंगे तो जो अगर उसका गैस का जो फ्लेम है वो अगर थोड़ा स्लो पे है, तो पानी क्या है वो धीरे धीरे बॉईल होगा, लेकिन जो उसकी क्वांटिटी होगी वो रिड्यूस होगी, और उसमें से लगातार जो है वो भाप ऊपर की तरफ आता जाएगा. लेकिन जैसे ही हम उस फ्लेम को जो है वो तेज़ कर देंगे, तो जो उसका भाप है वो बहुत स्पीड से हमें आता हुआ दिखेगा, और जो क्वांटिटी है उसकी वो क्या होगी, पानी की, रिड्यूस होने लग जाती है. और वही चीज़ यहाँ पे बोला गया है कि जो इवेपोरेशन है वो एक कंटिन्यूस प्रोसेस है, और वो हमेशा जो है लिक्विड फ्रॉम द सर्फेस ऑफ लिक्विड, और कम टेम्परेचर पे उसका जो प्रोसेस है वो स्लो रहता है. जैसे टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज होती है, the rate of evaporation also increases. Then what is condensation? The process in which a gas changes into liquid. तो एक गैस जो है वो लिक्विड में चेंज हो रही है on cooling is known as condensation. जैसे कि when we keep a plate over a pan of boiling water, we see the formation of water droplets on the surface of that plate. Also the water droplets forming on outside of a cold glass water. तो मतलब क्या हो रहा है कि द प्रोसेस इन विच जो गैस है वो लिक्विड पे चेंज हो रहा है. जब कभी भी पानी अगर हम बॉईल करते हैं तो उसके ऊपर अगर कोई प्लेट ढक दिया है तो जो प्लेट का अंदर का हिस्सा होगा, जो पानी का जहाँ पे भाप लग रहा होगा, वहाँ पे वाटर ड्रॉपलेट्स फॉर्म होगा. करेक्ट. तो जो पानी का भाप है वो क्या है, वो गैस फॉर्म पे, दैट्स अ गैसियस फॉर्म. लेकिन जैसे ही वो ठंडा होगा तो वो जो पानी के ड्रॉपलेट्स है वो वापस आपके जो हमारा पैन है पानी का वो उसी में आकर गिरेगा. तो वो क्या हो रहा है, वो लिक्विड बन रहा है. सिमिलरली जब कोई भी ठंडे ग्लास का अगर हम बॉटल निकाल के रखते हैं अपने फ्रिज से बाहर, तो बॉटल के बाहर आप देखेंगे तो वो जो पानी है वो क्या हो रहा है, वो सीप हो रहा है. तो मतलब जो गैस फॉर्म था उसका वो लिक्विड फॉर्म पे चेंज हो रहा है. यस. So we will keep our learning of today till here. I don't want to overburden you guys with lot of information. So quickly let's check. Today we had discussed matter के three matter क्या है and non-matter क्या है. The three states of matter and how the particles changes in from one state to another when it's heated or it's removed from heating. And there are totally 6 processes that takes place. So they are melting, freezing, evaporation, condensation, deposition and sublimation. And in detail we have discussed melting, evaporation and condensation. We'll cover the next 3 part in our next video. Do like and share my video. In case you have still not subscribed my channel, do subscribe it. We'll meet very soon with another learning video. Tab tak ke liye bye bye and take care.